Journey IFC strives to create safe spaces to worship God. Know that you are welcome just as you are, regardless of religious background or lack thereof, skin color, political affiliation, sexuality, age, culture, or any other label you own or society throws on you. You are welcomed and celebrated here just as you are.
To everything there is a season. Verses from Ecclesiastes. Illustrations by Leo and Diane Dillon. To everything there is a season. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. One generation passes away, and another generation comes, but the earth abides forever.
I have to say, today, just talking to journeyers in our study and conversation, it seems like a lot of people have had a really crappy week. And so let's just take a deep breath. Just breathe in and release it all out. I just feel that heaviness in the air of what a lot of people are going through. And I know we have people online who are sick at home, who are going through some stuff. We have some people here who have gotten bad news this week. And so we hold space for that here. And my prayer is that we can set that aside for a moment so that we can be present and that we can hear something that maybe feeds our soul and helps us get back into that world and maybe a better framework, better mindset. But I just wanted to acknowledge that before we got too much further. This series we're calling From Dusk to Dawn. And we're in this 40-day period of the Christian calendar called Lent, where we take some time to prepare not only our hearts, but our minds, our souls, or maybe even our bodies for the celebration of Easter, of the resurrection of Jesus, that story of life, death, and resurrection. Like going from dusk to dawn, we are celebrating going from a dark period of time, the darkness, to light. And even beyond the Christian calendar, we're also in a change of seasons. We're on this cusp of spring, where we're leaving winter behind. And although it was a recorded hotter than average summer, I read that this week in some news article here in Austin, I still find myself eager for warmer days. Through the winter season, we experienced shorter days that were colder and colder, that kept us inside more than many of us would have liked. So now as we prepare to enter into spring, It feels like we are being born into a new world. That which once was cold and dark is starting to become lighter and warmer. And in our Lenten series, we are exploring how all of creation takes part in this journey from dusk to dawn. Last week we talked about space, and my sister-in-law came and talked a bit. And we talked about how we're all made up of stardust from stars that exploded many, many thousands and thousands of years ago. We were taught by Delaney that even the heavens take part in this cycle of life, death, and resurrection. And this week we zoom in, like I said earlier, we're moving from the heavens to the earth to see if it does the same. This weekend I was fortunate enough to get to tag along with my pastor friend Jonathan, as I call him. And we got to go and stay a night at John Knox Ranch outside of Wimberley, Texas, which is a gorgeous place, wonderful place. And so just for over about 24 hours, we had free access to kind of roam the property and be outdoors and go on hikes and go for swims and just take in this change of the seasons. We hiked around in the warm sunlight that our bodies seemed to crave and need, even though we got a little bit sunburned. I got a little red on my neck. The first burn of the year, I needed to do it, I guess. Me and Skylar even got to swim a bit, but the water was freezing cold because we're still in that transition where the water's cold, but we didn't. We weren't in the water for long. We also sat down and just listened to the sound of birds, the trees rustling in the wind, water trickling down the stream. We stopped our schedules to become fully immersed in nature, taking in the plants, the animals, the smells, the mountain laurel smells that are all around, all the sights of a new season. And so yesterday, I spent some time alone. I went on a long hike just by myself around the John Knox Ranch property. And I figured if I was going to take a Sunday to talk about the changes of the seasons and the effects on the earth, I thought, well, maybe I'll find inspiration by walking around on the earth. Maybe that's a good idea. And so for about an hour or so, I explored trails that wound through a ton, thousands of cedar trees and wildflowers. And I tried my best not to get lost, even though at one point I did have to retrace my steps a little bit because I hit a dead end. But I was able to get back on the right track. But on the way, I stopped and I looked at rocks and trees that had fallen from our last big freeze, reminder of the season that just passed. I saw the colors beginning to reemerge from the plants and the trees around me. And I just spent some time taking it all in. And since I was there with another pastor who was also needing to prep to get ready to talk at his faith community this morning as well, when I got back from that walk, we took some time to sit down together and share our insights that we had gotten on our solo adventures that day. And Jonathan seemed really excited. He had some good ideas, and he had an idea and a plan. But for me, I had nothing. Nothing came to mind. Not a single good thought. I spent a full 24 hours out in nature, and I had nothing. No good thoughts. God did not send me a great thought or piece of wisdom or a song idea, nothing. No, instead, just God showed me the earth changing from winter to spring. And that seemed to be enough for me. And honestly, what could I say that would explain or put into words the feelings and experiences of being out in nature? How could I sum that up in a talk better than just letting you walk outside and see it for yourself, right? Jonathan, who is a friend of Journey, joked that at Journey I could just say, I got nothing, let's go outside, and y'all probably would be okay with that. And I think he's right. I was like, wow, you got us pegged, you know us pretty well then. But unfortunately, we're not going to go outside today. But I do hope that whatever happens here this morning will encourage you to go outside and be in nature, experience the earth, the world around us, and see the earth coming back to life. There's no guarantees that you'll get any wisdom from it. I didn't, but maybe something will come to you. Our reading this morning comes from the book of Ecclesiastes, which is a book that explores the wisdom of a person called Kohelet, which means teacher. And that was the children's book we just read there. In fact, the name Ecclesiastes is a Greek translation of the Hebrew word Kohelet, and so it just means this is the book of the teacher, basically. And this book is strange in nature, almost pessimistic it seems, and it begins by saying that everything, all of creation, is meaningless. Hevel, hevelim, vapor of vapors, vanity of vanities. nothingness. Throughout our lives, we build up careers and finances, families, faith communities, schedules, plans, hopes, aspirations. And the Kohelet, or the teacher, says that all of it is just vapor. The Kohelet was clearly a person doing some soul searching, I think, and going through a bit of an existential crisis of sorts. And when looking around at the broad scope of life, all that happens on this planet we call home, the teacher saw that everything was just like vapor. We can see it, but it cannot be grasped. As is life, according to the teacher, we are even vapor, one day here, the next day gone, impermanent, temporary, mortal, fleeting. And this is true for all of us. The teacher states that the rich and the poor, the righteous and the unjust, the wise and the foolish alike all come to the same fate. We live until we die. And what we do along the way is apparently a cloud of vapor. Pessimistic, right? Kind of a downer, honestly, to think about it. But the Kohelet says that there is joy to be had under the sun. Meaning here on earth, the things that may be vaporous still are significant because of the joy they bring to our lives. Things are significant not because of their inherent value, but because of the significance that we assign to them. And if everything is just as impermanent and vaporous as us, then what we have right now is a gift to be explored and cared for before it vanishes away. Vapor, maybe. Significant, yes. In their writings, the teacher suggests that the earth is eternal. While our modern understanding of the universe may have us challenging that idea, that notion, there's something about the earth that is steadier than us. It was here long before us. It will remain long after humanity is gone, probably of our own doing. Mountains have risen from nothing. Continents have drifted across oceans. And it remains in this cycle, circling the sun, bringing us seasons. Warmer when we get angled toward the sun, colder when directed away from it. But the earth, once believed to be eternal, is also vapor as well. Although humans have done a lot to hurt the earth, as we can see in our current climate crisis, the earth will honestly outlive us, but not forever. Stars will change, matter will be rearranged, something new will be made of what once was, vapor of vapors, flowing and changing over time. In the book of Ecclesiastes, the teacher also celebrates the turning of the seasons. And what we read from this book, To Everything There is a Season, by Leo and Diane Dillon. Ecclesiastes 3 reads, and this is only part of it, "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time for war and a time for peace." As we witness the turning of the seasons all around us, as the part of Earth that we inhabit gets closer to the sun and its orbit throughout space, I wonder what seasons of life we are going through. What are the things that burden us or keep us busy? What are the things that distract us from the beauty and joy all around us? What is the vapor of our lives that we can let blow away in the wind? As the Kohelet tells us, there's time for it all. So what is it time for now? What is springing forth with new life? And also, what keeps us grounded or centered or connected to the earth amidst all the vapors of life? What is our life force that reminds us that no matter what season of life we are in, that we are whole, and we are good, and we are God's beloved creation? How do we hold space for our temporary existence while also holding on to that which is real and meaningful and not merely vapor in our own lives? I think the earth has much to teach us as we welcome in spring. Maybe we should try to get out into nature. That's what I did. Maybe we can learn something from the earth as she is reborn into a new world. So may we mark this moment and celebrate the beauty all around us that reminds us of the beauty within us, which helps us recognize the significance of the vapor. As the Kohelet says, that which is already has been. That which is to be already is. And God seeks out what has gone by. May we relax into this truth and seek the vapor along with God, taking part in the cycle of life, death, new life with earth, and finding joy along the way. Amen.
Amen.
Whenever you get it, feel free to join in, or you can just listen.
It's a chasing of the wind. being created as corporeal, linear beings, time is what infiltrates every part of our being. So know this, there will always be a time too. You can't escape it. The beauty is, once that time is over, there's a time for something else. Another curve on the path of life. But one thing we can rest assured is, what we have today is fleeting. Tomorrow will start with something we had or loved. It will start without. But the time will come that something else will take its place. So know this. The one thing that is constant in all of this is God's mercy endures forever. There's always a time for God's mercy. Experience that mercy this week. Don't let a time for rule your day. Rejoice and be glad in the day that we have. And tomorrow will come regardless of I'm here to celebrate or not. Go in peace.